I tend to, maybe it's just in comic book space, like usually outside of this YouTube content, if somebody talks about something in simplistic terms that I think deserves more nuance, I just kind of assume they haven't really thought about it much, you know? And they're talking about it with a lot of confidence, even though it's like you really should maybe think about some different angles to this. And that's actually me giving benefit of the doubt. Um, when it comes to people on YouTube talking about comic books, I guess I'm a little bit primed to assume bad faith and ill intent, and that's I'm admitting a bias there. Um,
I think if I'm going to admit my bias, I think I am more towards the like they have fallen into a bad pattern of thought that
yeah,
is not helpful to them, and I
or it is
would
helpful to them in their YouTube content.
right because I definitely think the algorithm helps entrench people in their positions, and I think it's you're disincentivized from being self-reflective.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's see what he has to say here, because this is actually him, I think, encouraging people to become more aware of other perspectives, which is an interesting way to go.
All right. Well, I got something to admit to you, dear listeners, who have been following around this show. You know what? This show is going to be this particular episode of the show. If you've listened to a lot of the the podcasts, the episodes, whatever these things are, then this one's more for you. Okay. If this is your first time, if this is the first one you've clicked on, if you somehow got to Perch from this, you were you just abort. You're this is not the one. Go to any one of the other 2,000 or so videos on this channel. Don't start.
Which, whenever I clicked on this and he said that, I was like, oh, this is definitely the one I'm watching then.
Because this is kind of a catch up with the long term listeners. So that's what this is. Hey, little realization, dear listeners. So as you know, this has been a journey the last couple of years. Many of you started following me while I was up in the Seattle area. I had my shop up there, was looking to reopen. COVID went through that time with all of you. X-Men comics, and then the that blow up. Doing a lot of
X-Men comics and that blow up.
I have no idea.
Right. Oh, so one interesting thing, and interesting by that I mean fucking bizarre, is as much as we love and praise the Krakoan era, certain people on YouTube and elsewhere, they think it's just like a fucking atrocious, blight on the history of the X-Men. And I don't know that that's what his position is, but
I have no
kind of
idea, yeah.
describing the blow up with the X-Men, if anything past 2020, is kind of weird to me.
I mean, but
blow
he's
up,
showing off this badass panel.
right? Well, I mean, it's not the art that he's trying to draw attention to. I don't believe.
I'm sorry, I'm too busy. I was too busy looking at Mystique's thighs. What were we talking about?
Oh, well, look at what Mystique is saying, and I think that's probably more indicative of what he's trying to paint a picture here with.
Oh, that just makes her hotter, anyways. About her thighs.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but like,
I just anyways, you get what I'm up to.
Yes, and I get what I think he is up to as well.
We'll see. I'm very
I mean,
curious.
look, I'm sorry, you're signaling something when you single this picture out of anything, right? Like
Right.
you're signaling something, and
Such
and
a
it's
good
not
panel. Like that whole
it's
issue.
not
Is so
it's
good,
not that
though.
the art is bad, because the art is fucking clearly awesome.
Yeah.
It's the fact that she said to moms, basically, we're one of your moms. That's I'm sorry, I can't
You know what I like about this panel? It is one of his moms correcting her son, right? Like it's so parental. I fucking
yeah.
I love it.
of shows, both in the car, but actually less. I mean, there was a fraction of the shows were from the car. The majority of the shows were just recorded in an office with a microphone, and we did those live streams every week. We had like a good year run of live streams every week, and that was fun. Got kind of out of the habit, and and then eventually I figured out that both I could get better microphones for the car. And also there was audio software to clean up the audio. So that's why when you listen to some of the old videos, when they were done from the car, they sound like shit. And now that sounds better. I'm not saying good, but fewer people bitch about the audio quality in the comments anymore. But then moved down, did a bunch of consulting work, moved down to Texas. People every now and then somebody speculates on what's going on. You guys are completely wrong. Every time I see the speculation, it's completely off. Moved out of Texas because it was a really good gig, high paying, and good for my family. It was important for me for the kids to see a different area. They lived in one area. I mean, we'd bounced around a few places in the planet, but when I was young, I moved all over the place, and even into adulthood, I've lived, I think as people have heard this, all over, the country and countries. I have been to all 7 continents. It's, I think that travel's important. So it's not a humble brag about wealth. It's just, I travel. You can travel cheap. And I recommend if you ever have the chance to do that, get out, get around. It opens your eyes to what's going on there. Quite frankly, a lot of the writers who are currently doing comics, this is a comics channel, so we'll tie it to comics every now and then. I think a lot of them would benefit from travel. Go outside your comfort zone. Look, I'll
So this is an interesting fucking thing to say because you know what comic book creators do often, like especially the ones at the big 2. They travel a lot.
They do.
They go to cons. They meet people. They all across the country. And he's probably almost definitely referring to, maybe even says it, but a lot of comic book creators live in the area I live in, which is the Pacific Northwest. A lot of them live in the Portland area. And so, well, I'll let him say the thing he's going to say. But that's just kind of prefacing where he's going with it.
I'll tell you something crazy. If you are a kind of liberal-minded or part of the LGBTQ community and you've lived in Portland or Seattle your entire life, if you, fly down to Dallas and spend a week in Dallas or a week in Louisiana or Arkansas or North Carolina, you're not going to get murdered.
Okay. So,
okay.
Here's the thing. I am born and raised in Texas. I lived there most of my life in the deep fucking Southeast Texas. Okay. Several things you've just got, I don't know, wrong here as far as okay, let me take it piece by piece. 1, Portland, the Pacific Northwest in particular, but Portland in particular, there's it's actually kind of a trope around here, or a meme, I suppose, that there's hardly any people that are born and that lived in Portland their whole lives in Portland, because people from Texas, South Carolina, so on and so forth, who are queer, LGBTQ, or whatever, just don't vibe with the area down there, like me. They move to Portland to get away specifically from certain conditions and mentalities and stuff. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to sit here and paint the entirety of Texas as some fucking just yeehaw, bigoted fucking, everybody's a piece of shit. No, there's both of these places are, there's diversity of thought in both of these places. Outside of this Portland area, but even inside Portland, there are conservative leaning people. There are fucking bigots. There are, you know what I mean? It's not the cartoon caricature that he seems to think they are. And considering he says he's traveled a lot, he should understand that. But maybe he hasn't stayed very long in the places he's traveled. Maybe he hasn't met many of the people there. But it just he's basically just doing the, you liberal city folks over in Portland got to get out of there and go down to, we're not bad people down in South or whatever. I don't know. It's, but to think that these comic book creators have never been outside of Portland is bizarre. To not realize the fact that, and surely he does realize the fact that they travel, they go to conventions.
They go to conventions all the time. So I have a point, but I'm gonna have to get on my soapbox to do it. So I'm gonna let you go and let me know when I can fire off.
I didn't make that claim specifically, so I don't know where that. I'm saying there are people from across the country who come to Portland.
There are a lot of people who, for lack of a better term, immigrate to Portland from other parts of the country.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they're I lived in Austin, Texas for 10 years before I came to Portland, and I would say that Austin and Portland have more in common just in general with the average chill attitude of a person that you'll meet, right? And I don't think about people in terms of generally, if I meet somebody out in the wild or whatever, I'm not worried about their politics. I'm worried about how fucking chill are you? Are you an uptight person who is gonna make me or people I care about feel less than or feel in danger or you're going to diminish anybody? No? Okay, then cool. I really, it doesn't matter. Maybe if I later find out your politics and I think they're atrocious, I won't talk to you or something. But like, yeah.
So, what we need to
Right.
talk about here is the power of large numbers, because people don't understand this. And this guy, uh, uh, I'm gonna say he doesn't understand it based on what he's just said, and maybe in the next second he'll explain how he does understand. But when you're talking about being a minority, pick one. It doesn't matter for the sake of this conversation. We're talking about the power of large numbers, right? The odds of something happening to you individually are probably pretty low. Just take any random person in any random minority group and stick them in a place. The odds of something happening are small. But when you stack that up over a whole population of those people, that's where we can see the trends. And that's where we can see where things happen and why they happen and who's doing them.
Yeah. Well, so
And
like,
that's what this misses, right? Like, yeah, if I am traveling for work to a conservative state in the short term future, the odds of something happening to me aren't super duper high because I'm one person and it's a big place. But
well,
they're higher than they are here because we have the power of math.
yep. Well, and also there's states, like let's say for example, Florida. Um, I'm willing to bet that even though, a state's politics and the laws that are passed aren't always indicative of the popular
Sure.
uh, attitudes of the state, I would be willing to bet that there's a good bit more, open hostility to LGBTQ people in Florida these days than others, than in other
Oh
states
yeah. Well,
because of the
you talk
fact that,
about
yeah,
he talks about Texas, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Texas is one of the states I can't use the bathroom in.
yeah, it is.
Utah is a state I can't use the bathroom in now, or it's about to be.
So
Florida,
when
West
you say
Virginia.
when you say, hey, liberals or LGBTQ people, that's all the same thing, right? That's the way
Right,
he
those are the
talk about
same
it.
thing because I
Um,
know what I'm talking about. Person who does not know what
when
they're
you
talking
say
about.
that and then you say, you'll be fine, just come to the state, like you're not considering and not aware of, not cognizant of the fact that like what you're saying is actually no,
Wrong.
is likely to be murdered, no, likely to have a difficult time with something as simple as using a bathroom,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And let's say a trans person who is like, I'm going to use the bathroom that I'm supposed to use, right? And then they use that bathroom, and I've seen videos of people confronting people in that situation.
A man walked into the women's bathroom at McDonald's. Been in there for like 5 minutes.
You're a man,
I'm a
dude.
trans woman.
You're not a trans woman. You're born a man. I do. Where's my daughter? Why?
My right to be whatever.
Why are you acting this way?
Because you be an asshole.
I'm a man. So are you.
No, I'm not.
Then what are you?
Some dude sitting by the bathrooms at a McDonald's, wait, and whenever he sees a trans woman go into the women's bathroom, and when she comes out, and he's like, essentially was trying to start a fight with her.
Right.
Like that shit. Once again, that is just not
Well,
at all
and
the something that happens all the time or anything, but it's more likely to happen.
to happen. And because we're talking about the power of large numbers, right? If let's say Dane, we're gonna find Mirror Universe Dane and bringing him here to our Earth,
Uh-oh.
and Mirror Universe Dane is gonna take his goatee and he's gonna park outside a bathroom to beat
I
up
was
a
gonna
trans
ask if I
person.
had a goatee. I was gonna ask,
Of course, but no rest of the beard, just the goatee.
right. Well, I mean, I would have a goatee on top of my beard, I think.
Oh, there you go. Sure.
Go ahead.
If you were gonna, if Mirror Universe Dane was gonna sit outside a bathroom and look for the first trans person to harass, statistically, what he is going to do is harass a cis person. That's what, like, in the places where these laws have passed, what happens is he's going to harass a cis person. More likely than anything not. He is going to see a person who has short hair, or a woman with a square jaw or squared shoulders, or whose hips aren't as wide, or whose boobs aren't as big to his perception of what a woman is.
Because transphobes are really bad at transvestigations.
They're terrible at it.
So
And because you're talking about a population that is about 1% of the population, odds are you're just gonna fucking miss.
sketchy. I mean, I would not agree with that. Haven't seen anything so far that he hates them. It's just, but this is what I talked about a couple of streams ago, where like this more kind of passive, like, yeah, I mean, because I don't care about what you go through, and I don't think it, in my mind, it's inconvenient, basically. This is how I imagine. This may be a straw man, but to me, these people are like, look, no, you're nobody's hating you, nobody's being a bigot. You're just making a big deal out of nothing, right? Like, I'm not, and that's not really hate. It's more just like dismissive of the fact that this person has another, experience in life. And then, of course, yes, it does feed into hate, and it absolutely plays into, the effects of hate. But I don't know. I just would say that it's more like I think you nailed it right here. Let me see. The way he addresses LGBTQ people, the air of he doesn't see them as a person.
Right.
I would say that he doesn't see them as a person with their own experiences.
Right.
Right.
Well, he doesn't see their experiences as real. He
Right.
thinks that he thinks his experience is somehow superior to theirs.
Yep.
And I'm sure his experience is perfectly fine for him.
I think this is the root of conservative thought too, by the way, because I figured this out when I was with my dad, because my dad would always go like, it's this mentality of, oh, well, look, I had this happen to me when I was a kid and I turned out fine, or whatever. And it's like, or he would complain about a certain type of person that he doesn't understand their lived experience. So to him, it's not valid that they are that
Right.
way. And that is essentially, I really believe that's kind of the root of conservative thought, if you want to call it thought.
Well,
They start at that point and then they just end there,
Right. Well, I think you see, like, you read a lot of conservative trans parents or conservative parents of trans kids who suddenly get it when it's their kid.
Yes.
They suddenly understand everything. And I'm glad, like, that is the preferred outcome. I am glad that now you are on board and understand everything everyone was telling you all this time. Welcome. Have a t-shirt.
It's like a stunted empathy. It's like a
Stunted
underdeveloped empathy with it. Like they don't practice it unless it's something that directly relates to them.
You can learn more empathy. It just takes something that hits what your empathy can sense to cause the growth that you would have gotten otherwise.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so yeah, just to kind of wrap all that up, don't think we're applying all of these positions to Perch or anything. It's just that don't give us much else to go on whenever you just, this is so dismissive of other people's considerations and experiences that it's hard to imagine, because he doesn't seem like a stupid guy.
No, I don't think he's stupid. I think he's like a lot of not stupid people, right? Like, I think intelligence is a zit on the sphere of human knowledge, right? Like,
maybe he I don't know, has a realization or something. No, spoiler, he doesn't, but
okay, well,
I promise you won't. You'll be okay.
he promises that everybody will be okay.
Oh, okay, so all right, I'm going to this city in a conservative state, Perch, if you're listening. If in a few weeks I'm not back on the show, can you send my family money?
Yeah, how much is that promise worth?
Promise. What's that promise worth? I want to know.
You've literally got people who it's pretty obvious that there are people that are prioritizing removing the rights of just like the smallest fragment of the population in a period whenever we have, you know, a lot of other problems, to say the least, that things that actually fucking are
Things that
problems, and
right.
things that, you know, that if that doesn't seem like there are people that have the worst intentions for LGBTQ people out there, and they do tend to vote a specific way, and there are certain states and regions that vote that specific way more than others. Like, yeah, if you're not an idiot, which I don't assume you are, Perch, you have to acknowledge that there's a there.
Yeah, I don't think he's dumb. I just think he's wrong. And I think he is wrong in a way he does not fundamentally understand. When was this video posted?
Like a few days ago or something. 2 days ago.
So in the middle of the Utah debate and the Ohio debate, and that's just on trans rights. We're not talking about like what's going on at the border with Texas.
Right.
Yeah,
I wonder if he thinks that like you know, immigrants would be just as safe in one place as they would another place right now, or yeah, it's
or like, you know, it wasn't that long. It was only a few months since there was that shooting on the East Coast of those 3 Pakistani American kids. You know, I'm sure you'd promise them safety too. That really worked out. Like, yeah, we're the power of large numbers, right? There's lots of Pakistani kids out there living their lives and in the States, and they're probably just fine. But there are more of them that aren't fine than would be otherwise, and you just think that's not a thing, and you're wrong.
Well, I mean, that's the height of privilege. That's literally the definition of it. Is that you?
It is right. You don't even have to think about it.
Previously on X-Men.
Didn't see that coming. I know you got those, and I know you love them.
I haven't figured it out yet. It's a real head scratcher.
Yeah, and because here's the thing, right? Most of